As you can see, we're over here on the Summary tab on the Excel file. And this is that football field chart that we referred to a moment ago. They're pretty common in presentations like this, and for good reasons. It's a great way to summarize the results from a few different valuation techniques. Now let's take a look at this and explore the different options that we have to export this and get it over into our slide deck. Now, obviously this football field chart has been completed for us, but it was so easy to bring into Excel using Macabacus. We went up to the Macabacus section of the ribbon, right here under charts, and you can see quick charts. We clicked right here, football field chart, brings up this dialog box. And the key to using this is the example data. We're not going to click this, but if we were to click on the example data, the Macabacus puts sampled data into our Excel file to help us get the data structured perfectly. Let's just cancel out of this and continue on with this exhibit. Now, one of the things that came up in our other course, Format a Financial Model with Macabacus, was the idea of redundancy with formatting. Remember, in terms of redundancy, if we can remove something, we should. In fact, if we look at this chart, we can see some redundancies. We have data labels here on the top and the bottom of each one of these columns. So we don't really need the y-axis on the left-hand side. In fact, we could argue that these grid lines are not needed either. So let's just quickly click on the y-axis right there and hit the delete key. Over here, click on the grid lines and delete those as well. Perfect. So let's think about our opinion for a moment and what we want to communicate with this exhibit. Our view here is that the DCF valuation is yielding a low EV, and so is the trading analysis. But the recent transactions have been done at very high levels. What we need is an exhibit here that's going to help us communicate that. So let's zoom out a little bit on our keyboard. Control-Alt-, a few times, we'll zoom out just like this. So what we'd like to do here is put a horizontal line right through the midpoint of these precedent transactions here, just to indicate visually how high these valuations are. So if you could please go ahead and click on this chart, let's go up here, right under charts, we want to go to stat line. And right at the bottom of the stat line options, let's click on value. It brings up this dialog box. Let's start with the line color. Let's click on this box and get a nice dark orange here that'll really pop. Now, in terms of the line style, let's grab this third option down, which is a square dot, just like that. And now we're going to click OK. It's asking for a value. So just to get us started, let's put in 250,000 like this and hit the OK button. Perfect. Now, as you can see, Macabacus has put that line in for us right here. And over here, we actually have 3 columns that have been inserted that we have complete control over. In fact, we can see right over here that we'd like to widen this column width. Let's auto fit the column width with Alt-HOI, just like that. Now let's pop down into this cell and hit F2. What we'd like to do is go over here and switch out this word value. We're going to actually type in here precedent midpoint, just like this, and hit enter. Now let's quickly just go back up to the cell and auto fit the column width with Alt-HOI. Now remember, this 250,000 here was just a placeholder to get us up and running. Let's pop into that cell and put in an average function. Open the bracket, have the average between the low here and the high up there. Close the bracket and hit enter. Now all we need to do for this value here, equal down to this one, and this one equal down to that one as well. So now we have a really nice looking bonus line right through here with dynamic labels that's going to move as our valuation moves around. Let's jump ahead to the next video now and look into the different exporting options that we have available to us for this chart. We'll see you there. Now, as you can see, we've switched over to the PowerPoint environment here. What we want to do is go over a few options that we have available to get that chart exported from Excel over into this presentation. So first things first, let's go down here and select this single placeholder and then pop over to Excel and get the guides inserted. Now let's think through this for a moment. We definitely want to get the chart over to PowerPoint, but it would actually be nice to get this title and this global units marker in there as well. So let's position the cursor right here in cell B7 and then go up to the Macabacus section of the ribbon under guides and hit here. PowerPoint selection. Perfect. Now let's discuss our export options. If we were to go down here and click on the chart, we could go up in here and click Export Excel and export that entire chart all the way over to PowerPoint. That would effectively put a chart into PowerPoint. It would give us formatting ability in PowerPoint, but it's also going to increase the file size. We'd rather format right here in Excel and have one source of the truth. Now, the other thing that we could do, obviously, is go up here and export the chart as a picture. That would visually get us a great result, but the problem is if we were just exporting the chart as a picture, then we would not be exporting this title or this global units marker over here. Let's investigate one more option. So what we're actually going to recommend in this case is that we select the cells just like this, and then we select them all the way across and down, and we export the cells as a picture over to PowerPoint. But before we do this, look at the chart for a moment. We should probably resize that and maximize it for the space that's available. It might be helpful here to toggle the grid lines for a second. So Control-Alt-G will toggle the grid lines on. Now, the next thing that we should probably do, if you wouldn't mind, let's click on this chart. We should probably select here the plot area and just make sure that that's maximized across like this within the chart area. That looks great. Let's just click away and continue on. Now, here's a great little pro tip. If you wouldn't mind, let's click here on the chart. Now hold down the Alt key, and what you're going to find is now the chart will snap to these grid lines. So we're able to perfectly snap it into place just like that. Perfect. So notice how we've stayed within the boundary of the guide, which is perfect. Now Macabacus is set to remove the grid lines, but we could go ahead and toggle them off with Control-Alt-G, just like that. Now let's get things selected for the export. We'll start here in cell B7, highlight all the way across here to column L, and all the way down to the bottom, just like this, staying within the bound of the guides. Now what we can do is actually turn the guide off. We're going to go up here and click Clear Guides, and we're ready to export. Now that things are selected, let's do an export match none. Control-Alt right arrow, and it flips us over to PowerPoint. Now that we're in PowerPoint, let's drop some nice messages in here for the title and the subtitle. Now, as you can see, we've dropped these in place. An exit could yield quite a high transaction value, which is hiding just behind our sticky there. And this next one, midpoint of recent transaction, implies an EV of 245 million near the top of our DCF range. We're going to need to make this particular number right here dynamic. Remember just how easy this is with Macabacus. Let's get the cursor in here and take out or delete the 245 and pop over to Excel and get it done. Back over here in Excel, we're actually going to put that value right into this cell. So we just put in equals, grab the value from down here. We're going to divide by 1,000 to get it into millions, hit enter. So what we're going to do here, pop into the cell that has a 245, export Excel, click on text, and it exports it right back to PowerPoint. Now this slide looks amazing. We were able to use chart add-ons to get a nice line right across the precedent midpoint here, which is going to really stand out for the reader. And remember, in terms of exporting charts, the key there was to actually export the cells around the charts. That enabled us to grab the title as well as the global units marker and gave us a lot of flexibility with our export. Now, I just remembered, we need to get those background slides done for Scott. Let's jump ahead to the next video and get that started. Now, as we mentioned, we need to get this background section done. Remember, Scott was heading into that meeting. He may be coming out soon. We want to have something ready for him. So you can see here, we're on the stock performance slide. Let's get started and get this put together. So really quick, let's click on the light blue placeholder right here and head over to Excel to insert a guide. Now, as you can see here in Excel, we're over on the price tab. And we can see here that our research department has been doing a great job keeping up to date on what's going on with all these projects. But what we're really after here is the trailing stock price chart. So let's head down to this cell right here, and we're going to go ahead and insert our guide PowerPoint selection, just like that. Now remember, we could always click on the chart itself and export it as a picture, but it gives us a lot of flexibility to actually select the cells around the chart and then export that way as a picture. So let's start right here and hold down the shift key all the way across to column O and then all the way down to the bottom right here. And we can see that this has been sized really nicely. We're within the guides. So we can go up here and actually clear that guide out right now and now do an export match none, which is Control Alt right arrow. And we're back over to PowerPoint. Now, as you can see, we've placed in a nice title and a subtitle to start telling the story for the stock price performance. Now, if you wouldn't mind just banging those in, then we're going to meet you over in Excel and get started with the next slide. Now, for the next slide, what we're going to want to do is start to leverage some of this work that the research department has been tracking with the projects. If you wouldn't mind, could you please just pop in here, hit F2, and copy this particular update to the clipboard, and let's meet you over in PowerPoint. Now that we're back in the presentation, let's go ahead to the next slide. And what we want to do is just paste that bullet right into here. Perfect. Now, if we keep pasting those bullets in here, it's going to make for a pretty dull looking slide. Let's see what else we can do. In fact, Macabacus has some turbo shapes. Let's explore those a little bit. In fact, if you wouldn't mind, let's just click on this text box right here and then go up into the home menu. And we want to go across to paragraph and align the text to the middle. Now we could resize things a little bit, maybe just about like that. Let's move this over to the right-hand side, just freeform. Now let's explore the turbo shapes. Now what we can do is head up to the Macabacus section of the ribbon. Right over here, we can see turbo shapes. Let's click the down arrow and click right here on Harvey Ball. It's going to drop a Harvey Ball right into our presentation. Let's go up here and roughly just align it with that text box. Perfect. Now, one thing that's great to know about these Harvey balls, if we go up here and do settings and click configure, down the left-hand side, we can see turbo shapes. We've already set these up for you with all the code compliant colors for CFI. Let's cancel out of this and investigate the options with the Harvey ball. So these are really cool. We can click right here on the Harvey ball, and then we can use this rotate to change the style and go through all of our code compliant colors. Let's just go back to this style. The other thing that we can do is click here on the slider, and then we could use the arrows to index through all of the different percentages. I think this particular project is at 75%, so let's leave it there. Or we could punch in a really specific value here if we wanted. I think 75% is good for this one. Let's just click away. Now we really need to line things up a little bit. The key with the alignment tools in Macabacus is to first click on the element that you want to align to. So in this case, we're going to click on the text box to align to that and then control click the Harvey ball. Now we can go up here into the shape section and click right here where it says center vertically. Perfect. Now we obviously have 4 projects here. So let's just go ahead and click on the Harvey ball and then up into this section for Macabacus, we're going to go down here to multiply shape. Let's click multiply shape. How many rows do we want? Well, 4. How many columns? Let's just do. And then in terms of row spacing, let's bang this up to about 1.5 centimeters and hit that. And then we're going to hit OK. And we get things multiplied all the way down. Amazing. Now we could obviously click on this text box and multiply that shape downwards, but it might be fun to practice the alignment tools. If you could instead do a copy and then paste 3 times, now we've got these text boxes. Let's just roughly spread them out into the positions where we're going to have them. That looks about right there. Now, if you wouldn't mind popping over to that Excel file, pasting the proper bullets in here, and then making sure that they're all aligned. Oh, and it'd be great if you could also update these Harvey balls to the correct percentages. We'll see you in a moment. Thanks so much for putting the bullet points in here and updating the percentages on those Harvey balls. Now let's get these things aligned. Now the key to the alignment tools, remember, is always clicking first the item that you want to align to. So let's align things to the left first. We want to click, first of all, this first text box and then control click all of these other text boxes. And now we can go up here and click here, align left. Perfect. So now what we want to do is align vertically. So let's select this Harvey ball and then control select this text box. And we want to go up here and we want to click this center vertically. Same thing with this Harvey ball, this text box, center vertically, and the last Harvey ball, and then this text box and center vertically. Amazing. Now you might notice we just put a title in place. If you wouldn't mind pausing the video and getting that title typed out, that'd be great. Now we can see from the title that the two critical projects are right at the top, and we want those to stand out. So let's select these two Harvey balls like this, up to the Macabacus section here, and let's adjust the fill color to this dark orange like this. And then the bottom two ones, we could just mute them a little bit by selecting this third orange color down right here. Amazing. Now let's not forget the visual balance of the slide. It looks like it's leaning a little bit towards the right. So let's select everything just like this, including the text boxes, and move it over into the center and maybe a little bit down, just like that. Perfect. So great work on getting both of these slides completed for the background section. Now we're just rolling out Macabacus, and our admin team has been working hard on the slides for team bios and tombstones. Those should be available to you in the next section. We'll see you soon.